Hi buddies, how's it going? Hope you're just doing fine. Welcome to another episode of High One. This is our 10th session. God willing, today we'll be covering pages 19 and 20. There is a listening task on page 19. Let's see. Listening and speaking. Exercise 3A. Talk to your partner about strange events or coincidences you've come across or heard of. Share your stories with the class. Strange coincidences or events. We hear about UFOs visiting Earth. Uh, People just capture some photos, they just share them on the social media. Some people claim that some aliens have settled on Earth, they're just living among us. You hear stories about the Bermuda Triangle, about some giant animals and species. I don't know, some terrorist acts, everything really. 3B. Look at the pictures and write your predictions in the tables below. Use the words in the boxes to fill in the tables. First, let's check out the words in each number. Number 1, nefarious, doom, accident, strike, choke, commit, kill. Remember, nefarious means evil or criminal. We had it on page 18. It is an adjective. Doom, to be doomed to something means it will certainly happen. Accident. Strike here means hit. The past form is struck. Choke, when someone chokes, they are unable to breathe. Commit. To commit something means to do something illegal against the law. For example, you commit a murder, commit a crime, commit suicide, and kill. Number 2, inscription. Inscription, everyone, means words that are carved or cut or written on something. Immeasurable, great, big. Unleash. Unleash means to set free, let go, opposite of leash. And verbalize. You verbalize your feelings, for example. You express your feelings. Number 3, revenge, vow, coincidence, mechanism, twins, assumption, invade, and separate. Revenge as a verb means to harm someone because they have done something wrong to you, because, for example, they have hurt your feelings. Vow means promise or make a promise. Coincidence, when things happen at the same time by chance. Again, we had it on page 18. Remember the verb form coincide, coincidental, the adjective, and coincidentally. Mechanism, everyone, we had it on page 17. It means a method or a system, mechanism. Twins, you can see twins here in the picture, twin brothers. Assumption is the noun form of assume, presumption. supposing something. Invade, to attack somewhere, and invasion. Separate, separate as a verb means to divide apart. And remember, as an adjective, it is separate. Number 4, the words are respectively, war, descendant, omen, inscription, immeasurable, unleash, and verbalize. Well, respectively means correspondingly, again on page 18, in exercise 2E, we studied it. War, descendant, you are someone's descendant, means you are related to them and they are your ancestors. Omen, a sign of something. We have a good omen, a bad omen, an ill omen. Inscription, we discussed it, words that are written. Immeasurable, again, great. Unleash, opposite of leash, and verbalize. Number 5, murder, inscription, restaurant, descendant, accident, shot, and do. To murder means to kill. Remember, we have commit a murder, and the murderer is the killer. Inscription, restaurant, descendant, accident, shot. Shot, everyone, is the past form of shoot. You have a gun and you shoot someone. And we discussed doom, to be doomed, to fail, to die. Number 6, the words are author, measure, assume, revenge, comet, lodge, and birthday. Author, everyone, means writer. Measure, we measure the length, the height, the width of something as a verb. And measure as a noun means an action, something you do. To assume means to presume, to suppose. We discussed revenge, comet. Everyone, in the picture here, you can see a comet. So a comet is an object in space and it looks like a bright ball. So this is a comet. Lodge, it is a verb which means to get stuck. The opposite was dislodge and birthday. Okay, number 7, descendant, choke, injured, restaurant, random, candy, and lecture. So we had descendant, choke. If you choke, you are unable to breathe. Unable to breathe. Injured means hurt. Restaurant, random. When something is random, they happen, they done, they are chosen by chance. Okay, random. Candy, you can see some candy here. By the way, they are mints. Think of cold lozenges, for example. You just suck them. And lecture, you give a lecture, you talk to a group of people. Number 8, commit, leash, separate, suicide, nefarious, revenge, and dislodge. Well, commit means to do something illegal, as we discussed before. Commit suicide, commit a murder, commit a crime. Leash, when you leash, for example, someone, you keep them on leash, you control them. And leash as a noun means something we use to take control of our pets. Everyone, leashes are usually made of metal or leather. Separate, we discussed it. Suicide, when you commit suicide, you kill yourself. Not a good thing, of course. Nefarious means evil, criminal. Revenge, we had it. And dislodge. Remember lodge, which means get stuck. Dislodge is the opposite. Well, as you can see, we've got 8 stories here. For each story, guys, there is a chart here. You're supposed to complete the charts, the tables. Here, first, you should write down the words, your predictions. Just make a list of the words you think you would hear on the audio. And here, just make a prediction about each story. Okay? Let's just give it a try. So the first one, number one, story number one. Here, I can see some cabs, cab drivers. The street is just crowded. Here, I think there has been an accident. You can see some paramedics here. They are just giving first aid to the victim. So the words I think I can choose. I choose accident. I choose strike, which means hit. Maybe this guy just wanted to commit suicide. He wanted to kill himself. It was a nefarious action. I can choose nefarious. So there was an accident, a car accident. They just called an ambulance, and these guys are just trying to save him. So you see, I chose some words. I should just write down the words here, and I write my prediction here in this part. Well, in number 2, picture 1 is Genghis Khan, yeah, the brutal and cruel ruler who slaughtered a lot of people. Then you can see the great dictator Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was a German dictator who started World War. And this is the Kremlin, everyone. As you know, the Kremlin is in Russia, in Moscow, where Vladimir Putin, the current Russian president, lives there. So the words I'd like to choose, I can choose inscription, then, I'd like to choose verbalize, and this is my prediction. For example, there was an inscription on the grave of one of these guys, either Genghis Khan or Adolf Hitler. It said something. It tried to maybe verbalize. Then it had some immeasurable consequences or effects. This is my prediction. You know, I'm just making some guesses, just shooting from the hip, to be honest. Number 3, we have twin brothers here. So the words I'd like to choose, I choose separate, then twins, coincidence, and assumption, and wow. Maybe they got separated, everyone, when they were kids. So they had no idea of their twin brother. Once they just met by coincidence, yeah. They had no assumption of having a twin brother, and they made a vow never to leave each other alone. Just a guess. Next one, well, you can see a child, a flying child, maybe a super kid, Superman, Batman. Yeah, I can call him a super kid. Here we've got a balcony, the house with a view. The words I'd like to choose, well, let me see. Well, omen, I don't know, uh, immeasurable, what else? Okay, respectively. For example, a kid was playing on the balcony. He was just having fun. Suddenly, he fell off the balcony. Uh, and maybe he just got survived, and it was a good omen. Okay. Number 5, the pictures. I can see a waiter here, waiting tables and serving, working in a restaurant. And there is a picture of a king. So maybe this waiter wanted to murder the king. So he just invited him to his restaurant. He had his gun and he shot the poor king. That's just a guess. Again, I just write down my guess here. Okay. Number 6, we have a comet, and here you can see the great author, U.S. author Mark Twain. The author of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. So the words I'd like to choose: author, zoom, then comet, and birthday. So since Mark Twain was a great author, he might have written a story about a comet, and it coincided his birthday or something, and people assumed it as a good omen, for example. Again, just a pure guess. In number 7, everyone, you can see some candy or some mints, and there is a guy here. He seems to be attending a party, a ceremony. He seems to be choking. He's unable to breathe. So I can choose the words choke, restaurant, candy, and lecture. For example, the guy was attending a lecture in a restaurant. He had some candy, some mints in his pocket. While listening to the lecture, he tried to have some, but unfortunately, it got stuck in his throat and he choked to death. Not a good ending, of course. And number 8, wow, an Indian story. You can see a heartbroken young girl, and there is this bullet. Oh my God. So the words I'd like to choose, I choose commit, separate, suicide, nefarious, and revenge. So this is my story. The girl, this young lady, was in a relationship for a couple of months, but unfortunately, after several arguments, they got separated. They just split up, and well, her jealous boyfriend had this nefarious plan of taking revenge on her, but what? But it failed. It was unsuccessful, and the poor girl committed suicide. Again, a sad ending, a sad story. So, everyone, these were just my guesses. You see, I used some of the vocabulary items given. I just used the pictures to come up with some stories. Okay, well, in 3C, exercise 3C, it says listen and check if your predictions were true or the predicted words were connected. And in part 3D, you're supposed to listen again and take notes, then prepare a summary for each. Okay, now we're going to take a listen, everyone. I'd like you to listen carefully, jot down the keywords, the important words, and remember, I'd like you to use the words to come up with some summaries. Okay? Remember, you won't have enough time to write down every single word. Just listen for the keywords and write them down. All right, let's see. So, ready? So, I hope you got your pen and paper ready. Here we go. Just take a listen.
Do you believe in coincidences? Or do you believe there is some larger, possibly nefarious mechanism at work making weird things happen the way they do? Whether you believe in fate or in random occurrences, here are 8 of the strangest coincidences to have happened throughout recent history. We assume they tip either time.
In 1975, a man was killed when he was struck by a taxi in Bermuda. An unlucky passenger had to witness it. A year later, the same taxi driver was driving the same passenger when the taxi struck and killed the original victim's brother.
He wasn't kidding.
On June 20th, 1940, Soviet archaeologists uncovered the tomb of Tamerlane, a descendant of Genghis Khan. A warning inscription read, "Whoever opens my tomb will unleash an invader more terrible than I." They opened it anyway. Germany invaded the Soviet Union 2 days later.
Twins separated at birth who had incredibly similar lives.
Man, twins are weird. Separated at birth, a set of twins from Ohio, each grew up knowing nothing of the other's existence. They were both named James on their adoptions, which might be a weirder coincidence of their respective families. Both grew up to be police officers and married women named Linda. They each had a son, one named James Allen, and one named James Allen. They also each had a dog named Toy. They both got divorced, but later each remarried women named Betty.
You guys really need to keep the baby away from the window.
Someone on the street obviously had it in for this baby, because during the 1930s, a man named Joseph Figlock was surprised by a falling baby landing on his shoulders. The same day the next year, the same baby fell on him again at the same spot. Neither Figlock nor the baby were harmed, but we hope someone got this family a screen.
Not quite twins, but twin deaths.
King Umberto I of Italy had a weird dining experience when he found that he and the owner of a restaurant at which he was eating were born on the same day in the same town and had both married a woman named Margherita. On July 29, 1900, the king learned that the restaurant owner had been shot and killed in the street. Later that day, the king was also assassinated.
Mark Twain's comet-framed life.
Halley's Comet passes Earth about once every 76 years. making it actually not that unlikely that someone's life could be measured by it. One such person is Mark Twain, who was born during its 1835 pass and died the day of its appearance in 1910. He even predicted it in 1909.
The case for taking your own advice.
South African astronomer Daniel du Toit was giving a lecture at the age of 49 about how death could come at any time. On finishing, he popped a mint into his mouth with a little too much vigor and choked to death.
The patient bullet.
When his sister committed suicide after a failed relationship, one man vowed revenge against Henry Ziegland, the man who'd broken her heart. He shot at Ziegland but missed, and the bullet lodged in a nearby tree. Years later, Henry was clearing that very land and used dynamite to remove the tree. The bullet was dislodged with considerable force, struck Ziegland.
Okay, well, that's it. By the way, everyone, if needed, you can just play the audio and take another listen. So, time to present summaries. You see, listen again, take notes, and prepare summaries. All right? So, would you like to give it a try? Of course. Let's just give it a try. So, the first story, remember, in 1975, there was a car accident in Bermuda. So, and a passenger just witnessed it. You know, when we witness something, we just see it, we notice it. Okay. So, a passenger just witnessed a car accident. 1 year later, the same guy, the same passenger, and the same cab driver, yeah, you know, he was just driving the same passenger, the same guy, when the cab unfortunately struck and hit the first victim's brother. What a surprise. All right, and number two, it was about archaeologists. They just uncovered tomb of Tamerlane. You know, tomb means the grave, and this guy was a descendant of Genghis Khan. There was an inscription in the grave which said, "Whoever opens this tomb will unleash an invader, a cruel invader." Anyways, the archaeologists just didn't take it seriously. They opened the tomb, and a couple of days later, the World War started. Germany invaded the Soviet Union. Germany attacked the Soviet Union. Again, a strange story. Number three was about the twins. They were separated at birth, and I think they were from Ohio. And they were named James, of course. Yes, they had the same name, James and James. They were police officers. They married women named Linda. So again, their wives had the same name. Then each twin had a son named James, and they had a dog. I think named Toy or something. I'm not so sure about it. Well, unfortunately, they both got divorced and they remarried another woman named Betty. Yeah, you see the same names, the same occupations, a son with the same name. They remarried women with the same name of Betty. Again, really mind-blowing. Number four was about a falling baby. This baby just fell on a guy's shoulder named Joseph. Well, a year later, the same baby, just at the same spot, refell, let's say, refell on his shoulders. Unfortunately, neither Joseph nor the baby were harmed. Again, difficult to believe, hard to swallow, believe me. Number five was about a restaurant owner and a king. You know, the king was a customer of a restaurant, and coincidentally, they were born on the same day, and their wives' names just were the same, Margarita, I think. One day, the poor restaurant owner was shot and killed, and later that day, the king was assassinated. So, the same destiny. Number six was about Mark Twain and the famous Halley's Comet. You know, according to the audio, this comet passes Earth every 76 year. According to the audio, Mark Twain was born in 1835 during Halley's Comet Pass, and he died in 1910, again when this comet reappeared. And surprisingly, Mr. Twain just predicted it. Number seven was about a talker, a professor, a 49-year-old professor and astronomer. He was just giving a lecture about death and how unpredictable death can be. Unfortunately, he just popped a mint and choked to death. So, you know, they say actions speak louder than words, or they say practice what you preach. Well, yeah, not a nice ending. The last one was about a failed relationship. So Henry just was in a relationship with this young lady. They just broke up, and unfortunately, she committed suicide. Well, the girl's brother vowed revenge. He shot at Henry, but unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, he missed. And what happened to the bullet, by the way? The bullet lodged in a tree. A few years later, this guy, the ex-boyfriend, wanted to clear up the area. So he used dynamite to just get rid of the tree. And unfortunately, the bullet was dislodged and killed Henry. Yeah. Whatever goes around comes around. Okay, he just paid the price. Well, in 3A, the question is, which story do you find believable or unbelievable? So, which story is plausible or implausible? You know, to be honest, all the stories are kind of mind-blowing. They just seem too difficult to believe. But anyways, I think number one, then number six, and number seven are kind of plausible to me. They are believable. But the others, to be honest, are kind of too difficult to believe. Okay, so everyone, again, I'd like you to take a listen at home, to jot down the keywords, note down the keywords, and use the words to come up with creative summaries. Just give it a try. Believe me, you have nothing to lose. Okay? Well, let's move on. Welcome to page 20. Trees talk. Do they? Well, have got no idea, no clues. Okay, listening and speaking. 1A. Discuss the questions with your partner. So, what does www stand for? What has Internet made possible? What do you think World Wide Web is? And do you think any kind of communication is possible among plants? If yes, how? So, as in answer to question number 1, as far as I know, www stands for World Wide Web. That is the Internet, the superhighway or information superhighway that we are using nowadays. What has Internet made possible? Through Internet, it is just easy to keep in touch with people. You have access to tons of information. Life is easier just because of computers and Internet. It has provided great entertainment for people, especially teenagers. I'm just recording this great, awesome video thanks to the Internet. So we just owe a lot to the Internet. Yes. And in answer to question number 3, what is World Wide Web? Well, World Wide Web, are you kidding me? Does it mean there is a kind of connection between trees and plants, or we have some sort of tree or plant internet or something? Just beats me. And the last one, do you know anything? Do you think any kind of communication is possible among plants? If yes, how? Well, I think so. Trees and plants are living creatures. They are alive. I remember once hearing that plants just send each other signals. They just warn each other. They let each other know about the possible dangers. So yeah, why not? I think it is absolutely possible. After all, they say impossible is nothing. Okay, well, everyone, before we take a listen, I'd like you to check out these pictures, okay? So, in picture 1, you can see some aphids, yes? You see these green insects. So, what are aphids? Everyone, aphids are small insects. They feed on the juices of plants. So they are kinds of pests. Aphids are pests. Okay, so these are aphids. So green insects, and here you can see the leaves. Yeah, leaf and leaves of this plant. Well, the next one, seedling. Seedling, as you can see in the picture, everyone, is a young plant or a young tree grown from a seed. So we call it a seedling. Yeah, seedling. Next, we have fungus. Fungus. Well, guys, the plural form is fungi. Fungi, G-I, which is spelled F-U-N-G-I, or funguses, S-E-S. So fungi and funguses. By the way, fungus is a simple kind of plant. Fungi have no leaves or flowers. They grow on plants or other surfaces. And as examples of fungi, just consider mushrooms and mold. So mushrooms and mold are examples of funguses. And the last one, mycelium. Mycelium. Everyone, mycelium is the part of a fungus. It has a network of fine, just white parts you can see in the picture. So mycelium is related to fungi. All right. Well, exercise 1B. Listen to the recording and complete the sentences. There's a note. Number of the words in your answers should be the same as the numbers in the parentheses. So here you see we have 6 statements, and the number in the parentheses here, they mean you should exactly use the same numbers. For example, here you need to use just one word. In number in sentence E, you need to use 2 words. Well, before we take a listen, everyone, I'd like you to check out the statements, read the statements. You know, this can give you a general idea of the audio file. Okay, just take a look. Try to guess or think of the type of words that will fit in each blank. For example, should it be a number, an adjective, a noun? All right, just check them out, please. The 6 statements, the 6 sentences. Okay. So, ready? Now, let's take a listen. Yes, here we go.
In today's lecture, we are going to talk about internet among plants.
Connection among plants?
Yes, the plant internet. There is a biological superhighway linking together the members of the plant world called the Wood Wide Web. This web is hidden in the ground, entangled in the roots of plant life. This organic network works much like our internet, allowing plants to communicate, provide nutrition, or even harm one another.
What do you mean by nutrition?
The food for plants. Carbohydrates, minerals, anything to help the plants grow. Anyways, the network consists of thin threads of fungus, known as mycelium, that grow underground up to a few meters from its partnering plant. This means all of the plants within a region enter the network and connect to one another. This is like the way we use computers to connect to each other. The system of partnership between plants and the fungi is beneficial for both parties. It's called mycorrhizae. Plants provide carbohydrates to the fungi, and in exchange, the fungi aid in gathering water and providing minerals to its partnering plant. This fungal network has been found to allow plants to help one another in growth. University of British Columbia graduate Suzanne Simard was the first to show that some trees were capable of transferring carbon to smaller trees that may not be receiving enough sunlight. Simard believes that without these helpful trees, many of the world's seedlings would not be able to survive. A number of studies have been done on this astonishing fact. For example, another study found that this interconnectivity also allows plants to warn one another. In the study, the team grew pairs of tomato plants where some of the pairs were allowed to form the connection. When the fungal networks had formed, one plant of each pair was sprayed with a fungus that causes disease in plants. Plastic bags were used to assure that there was no connection through the air between the plants. After 65 hours, the team tried to infect the second plant of each pair. They found that plants with mycelia bound were far less likely to get the disease and had much lower levels of damage if they got it. The plants with no ground connection got the disease. A similar study was done by David Johnson and a team of colleagues. It showed broadbeans also utilize the fungal network to eavesdrop on one another for impending danger.
Eavesdrop for impending danger?
Yes, they secretly get information from other plants about pests and other kinds of threats. For example, when hungry aphids feed on the leaves of one of the broadbean plants, the plants connect via mycelia and give out their anti-aphid chemical. This doesn't happen in the plants that are not connected through the fungal network. Like our internet, this fungal connectivity makes cybercrime, terrorism, and even warfare possible. Some plants steal their necessary minerals from others due to the lack of chlorophyll. And interestingly, some others have been found to release poison to prevent the growth of surrounding plants in the fight for water and light. We will stop here today. Next session, we'll discuss human interference in the fungal system and its effect on plant life.
Okay, well, that's it. So, again, everyone, if needed, you can replay the audio and take another listen. Now, let's check out the answers. Number one, the organic network works much like our internet. So the organic network, this www, Wood Wide Web, it is similar. It works the same way as our internet. Really surprising. Number two, the thin threads of fungus known as mycelium, remember in the picture, mycelium, grow underground up to a few meters. So thin threads of fungus, we call them mycelium. Of course, the plural form is mycelia. So mycelium, mycelia, L-I-A. Number three, the fungi aid the plants, A-I-D, aid the plants in gathering water and providing minerals. Well, aid means help, assist. Gather, collect. They gather water and minerals. D. Another study found that this interconnectivity also allows plants to warn one another. You know, connectivity and interconnectivity, the connection between them, it allows, it lets, it makes it possible for them to warn one another. When we warn someone, we tell them of a danger. One another, everyone, means each other. E. The plants with no ground connection got the disease. So those plants which had no ground connection, they got ill, kind of. They got the disease, illness. And F, like our internet, this fungal connectivity makes cybercrime, terrorism, and even warfare possible. Everyone, fungal is the adjective form of fungus. Connectivity, you know, connect, connection, connective, and connectivity. It makes cybercrime, terrorism. Cyber means related to internet. Cybercrime, cyber attack, for example, we have. And warfare, just fighting. Well, part C. Listen again for details and answer the following questions. So, everyone, would you please make sure to play the audio, take a listen to check the answers for the questions in this part. Well, since we listened earlier, I'd like just to go over the answers. Number one, what does the lecturer mean by Wood Wide Web? The lecturer, the man the university professor. So, by World Wide Web, or WWW, he meant the biological superhighway. Well, biological is the adjective form of biology. Superhighway, or everyone will say information superhighway, is the same as the internet. So the internet or superhighway or information superhighway. Number two, what makes the World Wide Web possible? So fungi or funguses make it possible. Fungi or funguses. Number three, what is the system of partnership between the plants and fungi? Yeah? So how do they help each other? How do they cooperate? They partner. So what is the system? It is both of the partners. Yeah? Both of them. They just cooperate, they work together. Number four, what do broad beans utilize the fungal network for? Okay, you know, broad beans, they are just beans, they're so delicious. Utilize, everyone, means make use of or use something. So what do they use the fungal network for? The answer is B, to eavesdrop on other plants. Well, everyone, typically or literally, eavesdrop means to deliberately listen secretly to someone's conversation. So, but here, to eavesdrop on other plants, they get some information about the other plants, all right? They eavesdrop on other plants. And the last one, why do some plants release poison underground? You know, release, they just produce, they make, so some poison. So according to the audio, some plants release or produce poison. Why do they do that? The answer is C, to prevent the growth of other plants. There's kind of warfare between them to stop, to prevent the growth and to have more minerals or resources for themselves. All right, this is the end of our today's session, everyone. Hope you just enjoyed our program. Take care until next session and have a good one. Bye.